The UK is now some sort of tyrannical police state where free speech no longer exists.
My son texts me, it's all kicking off on X-Dad.
For Lucy, the loss of a child is obviously particularly raw. You were both completely let down by the NHS. There seemed to be some sort of political campaign. My suspicion is that it is because she was married to you, a Conservative councillor.
If she didn't plead guilty, she would not get bail.
She'd made a mistake by being coerced into pleading guilty. The most egregious example of two-tier justice.
The government want to frighten people. They've got a housewife who's walking around a wing with people who are doing life in prison for murder. So they wanted to know if I was racist.
You are entitled to say that she is a good person who isn't racist without your democratically held council seat being challenged. I have absolutely no doubt that Lucy Connolly is a political prisoner. On the day of the Southport Massacre, she inartfully expressed the visceral anger so many of us were feeling about the fact 3 young girls had been butchered to death at a Taylor Swift dance class. Maybe her post on X took it too far. I mean, she knew that. She deleted it. She swiftly regretted it. But it is very clear to me that she had not incited any specific violence, and her main call, which was for mass deportations of illegals, is actually a mainstream view in America under Donald Trump, even if the elite class in Britain view it as some sort of hate crime. Critically in that post, Lucy wrote, "I feel physically sick knowing what these families will now have to endure." And that's because Lucy knows from the most brutal and the most traumatic personal experience what it's like to lose a child in a tragedy. Her beloved son, Harry Connolly, there he was, died at just 19 months old after shocking NHS failure, which resulted in an apology from Northampton General Hospital. And those photos there of Lucy with little Harry, we haven't seen before. As Lucy said at the inquest, she would never get over it. But was there any sense of perspective or empathy when her tweet, her post on X, saw her dragged through the British judiciary to make a point to all of us? Shut up or we'll lock you up. Of course not. Of course not. Look at the result. Lucy, a housewife, a childminder, a proud mother to a thriving 12-year-old, was immediately remanded in custody and sentenced to 31 months. That's 2.5 years behind bars. This was a barbaric sentence with a clear political purpose. Because Lucy, you see, is married to the popular West Northamptonshire Conservative councillor Raymond Connolly. So she became the perfect face of so-called social media hate crimes, driven away in that police van to serve an absurdly long sentence as paedophiles and women beaters avoid spending 1 day locked up. Make it make sense. I mean, as Elon Musk regularly points out, it doesn't. The UK is now some sort of tyrannical police state where free speech no longer exists. Look at today, at PMQs, where the Prime Minister, two-tier care, disturbingly wouldn't even rule out a blasphemy law that would make so-called Islamophobia illegal. This is being pushed by the Labour MP Tahir Ali.
November marks Islamophobia Awareness Month. Last year, the United Nations Human Rights Council adopted a resolution condemning the desecration of religious texts, including the Quran, despite opposition from the previous government. Acts of such mindless desecration only serve to fuel division and hatred within our society. Will the Prime Minister commit to introducing measures to prohibit the desecration of all religious texts and the prophets of the Abrahamic religions?
Can I agree with him that desecration is awful and I think should be condemned across the House. We are, as I said before, Mr. Speaker, committed to tackling all forms of hatred and division, including, of course, Islamophobia in all of its forms. Thank you.
Now, let's go back to Lucy Connolly. Like a loyal husband, Raymond stood by his wife. But, this is critical, he didn't support her tweet in any way and made clear that Lucy regretted it. He has been stoic and reselected to run for his seat as a Conservative councillor next month. So now, the campaign to unseat him using lawfare has predictably kicked off. The West Northamptonshire Council, this was leaked to local media, has started a code of conduct investigation for comments Raymond made in defence of his wife. So how did he defend his wife? He said she is a good person and not a racist. This investigation is sick and twisted. I have been in contact with Raymond since Lucy's arrest. He has always avoided speaking publicly about the case, apart from just those few words grabbed by Sly News outside the courthouse and now used against him. But I am delighted that today he has decided to break his silence on Outspoken. So now, the uncancelled interview. Raymond Connolly, it is so good to have you here today. And I guess we should start at the beginning before we talk about this despicable move to subvert democracy and get you booted from representing the people that you were elected to represent. So tell me first, Ray, when did you become aware of Lucy's tweet on the day of the Southport Massacre?
It was about a week later. It was. My son texted me, our oldest. He said, "Have you seen the? It's all kicking off on X, Dad." And I said, oh, I'm not on it, Tom. I'm Jack. I said, so he sent it off. He screenshotted it and sent a few things to me. And I said to Lucy, I said, what's this? And she said, oh, look, I put this on like a week ago, but somebody's screenshotted it and reposted it.
And that person also got locked up for doing that. And what was your immediate reaction when you saw the post?
Well, obviously, I was aware of that day when I come home, and obviously, I came home from work. Lucy was crying at the house when I come in, and she explained to me what had happened, and just went through the they're saying on X, it was a terrorist attack or whatever, and I said, well, you know, and I'm like, oh, I said, bloody nightmare, really, and then I just went and put the news on, and I could see it all on the news of what had happened with those poor children. And obviously, you know, Lucy's in the house with the kids she's looking after, petrified.
And for Lucy, the loss of a child is obviously particularly raw, given what happened to your son, Harry Connolly. Look at him there. And he was just 19 months old when he died, Ray. And he died as a result of state failure. He was completely let down. You were both completely let down by the NHS. So I imagine the death of any child really impacts Lucy.
Yeah, she'd complained to, she'd even complained to members of parliament before about children what had been injured. I remember Jeremy Hunt, she was moaning about a case with a child, but it just seems to be, she would always, like, again, any children what are harmed, especially medical negligence, she would be up in arms and, well, on the laptop and usually,
so she was like a lot of. Sorry, you finish your point, right?
I know she'd even have contact with the parents as well. She would have these people who were having a problem, who had a problem.
So that day, she was emotionally tormented, like so many of us were, to be honest, about what happened. A lot of us knew that we weren't being told the full truth. But she made this post on X, which would go on to change your lives. But what's so interesting is that, as you point out, there wasn't an immediate reaction to this. There seemed to be some sort of political campaign to get Lucy targeted by the police. My suspicion is that it is because she was married to you, a Conservative councillor. Do you have that same suspicion?
Well, obviously, you know, I mean, Lucy was arrested that morning, and I went to walk the dog, and I got a phone call late that afternoon from the BBC, and a journalist from the BBC, and he said to me, he goes, "Hi Ray, I'm such and such from the BBC. I've drawn the short straw to call you. I wouldn't normally be having this conversation with you, but you are a Conservative councillor, so there's going to be some mileage on this." And that was from the BBC.
And when did the police get involved, Ray?
About a week later in the evening, they went and took Lucy away in late afternoon, and she came back around about 7 o'clock, I believe, and then they come and picked her up again the following morning.
And was that when she was remanded in custody?
Yeah, then she went to that's to Bracknell's in the custody there.
At that point, Ray, did she have any idea that it was even a possibility that she could find herself locked up for 2 years?
Oh no, God, crikey, no. I mean, I think I mean, I've looked at, I mean, I've on X now, and I've seen the rhetoric, what's on there and whatever. So I don't think she ever thought this would happen. Of course not.
When did that reality hit for you and for her?
I think it was, well, it would have been a sentencing, because obviously she was obviously, she pleaded guilty. She pleaded guilty because she felt she was obviously discussion with her legal team. She felt that she was probably good chance to be home by Christmas if she did. If she didn't plead guilty, she would probably be on, may not get bail, and then going into the new year, when a court date, other people wanted Lucy to plead not guilty and fight it in front of a jury, but she decided, after discussions with her other solicitor, if she was to plead guilty, she worked it out in her head, because she was obviously in the prison at this time and speaking to the inmates. So she would worked out, she was told she'd get 2 years around that. But then obviously Lucy's working out with a guilty plea, a reduction in sentence, 40% and time served, that should be out before Christmas, with her really close to it. But obviously, when she was sentenced, obviously the sentencing guidelines, I thought, you know, it was going to be around the 2 year mark. But when I heard the judge, Melbourne, start reading about the sentencing guidelines, I thought, oh, what's going on here?
The judge showed
I realised
no
that Lucy
mercy.
She'd made a mistake.
She'd made a mistake by being coerced into pleading guilty.
She should have. Well, I always wanted her to. You know, the other side of our legal team were going. You know, there was that Lucy would to plead not guilty, and they'd put a bail application in, and then they'd review it. and go in front of a jury, because I felt Lucy would be in a better position. But she thought it could be, March, April time before she went in front of the jury if she wasn't granted bail. And because she'd already filed a bail application before, she kind of thought,
but that's sick.
Going against her.
I mean, but Ray, this is sick. It is the most egregious example of two-tier justice. I mean, the Labour councillor who is on video threatening to slit people's throats, he pleaded not guilty. He has received bail. So are you very conscious of the fact that Lucy Connolly, your wife, was being made an example of?
I think I would have to say, of course, at the end of the day, I mean, even afterwards, people, the government want to frighten people. I guess that's what they've done. Obviously, they've got a housewife here whose criminal record is, I think, a driver awareness course, and all of a sudden she's walking around a wing with people who are doing life in prison for murder.
It's sick. It is genuinely sick and twisted. I've spoken so much about the case of Lucy and also Julie Sweeney, a very similar woman who is a carer, a grandmother, who received a similar sentence for a post on Facebook. Now, I believe they're political prisoners. Is that how you view your wife, Ray?
I think as time has gone by, pretty much so. I'd say most definitely. I think they've been really harsh on her. I just, I joked about it beforehand that, oh, you'll be coming with me when we do the community payback teams, and they come litter picking and painting with our teams. I thought that's what she might end up doing. I thought I had visions of her coming in painting and whatever, play parks and whatever.
Yeah, no, not even, you wouldn't even believe that in the UK in 2024, a housewife would be sent to jail for 2.5 years, 31 months for posting on X. It is extraordinary. Now, you have a 12-year-old daughter. What happened, Ray? Tell me about the human cost of this, because as that dawning realization comes that Lucy's going to be behind bars for a very long time, I imagine your life was completely turned upside down.
Yeah, obviously it was difficult. Obviously, I'm looking at the financial aspect of Lucy was self-employed, so no house. So, and obviously I've got the legal cost. Obviously I sold my car pretty much straight away and borrowed money off of friends to pay for the solicitors and court cost, and obviously then the running of the house. I cancelled pretty much everything I do. And I kept everything what Edie does, the gymnastics, the golf, just try and make sure that she's everything is pretty much normal for her, so it's not a lot of disruption. So she realizes that her mum's not here, but she is only down the road. In sort of, I keep saying to her, she's only down the road.
Has she been able to see her mum in jail?
Yeah. We've been to visit her. We have. And the children who she looked after have been there as well.
And what's Lucy's life like behind bars?
Well, she was petrified when she turned up, absolutely petrified, terrified. So she drove into the Peterborough and they collected her there. And she was in a state. I mean, she said, she was like, oh, you can imagine. But two girls came and met her. I did meet these girls. I mean, they're both doing life in prison, they were, but they helped Lucy settle her in. And Lucy rang me that night. Obviously very tearful, distressed. But I said to her, like, obviously she was struggling because she was getting no medication. She was obviously on antidepressants, and she wasn't really getting anything like that. But then she's just settled in as best as she can, really, and so many incidents, which I can only think, fair play to Lucy, being in that environment and the people she's with, the friends she's made, the people on the wing have all the great time for her. Even the prison officers have great time for her. So, she is somehow she's managed to really pull herself together.
Well, thank God, because I had Mark Heath on the show last week, who was jailed for a social media post as well, although he pled not guilty, but he was remanded in custody. And within hours of entering prison, he was targeted by an Asian gang who beat him up horrifically. So Lucy has had no physical threats to her safety behind bars.
No. There's lots of incidents. I'm sure Lucy will write a book, but she was all the girls in the prison know what's going on, and there was a girl who was coming into the prison. They knew it. She'd been moved from another prison. Obviously, she'd been in trouble there, and they were moving her to this prison because it was more of a disciplined area. And Lucy was in the canteen, and it's just like a school canteen. Everybody's eating, talking, and all of a sudden you could hear a pin drop because this girl, I'll say P, I won't say what her name is, walked in, and Lucy said, she could see her. She was a black girl, very attractive, powerful looking girl, and she walked in, and everybody was like, oh my God. And then she looked at Lucy and walked over to Lucy, and Lucy was like, oh my God. She was, what the hell? And she walked up, she goes, we've been talking about you. You're the lady in blue. Don't let them divide us. And that's what she said to her. But her and that girl now, and the other Jamaican and the other Jamaican, they're like real best of friends. They look after Lucy. They do all her hair for her, eyebrows. Lucy's doing the best she can in there. She is funny. She's obviously there's some homeless girls in there as well, and they've got no family to send money in. So Lucy gets me and her friends to send money in. So she does shops for them because they haven't got a job and they've got no family to send any money in. So she'll do shops for them and then get them extra food, sweets, makeup, toiletries, and they do like a weekly delivery. But obviously they've got no family, they've got no money, but I think that sort of camaraderie, Lucy, they've all kind of like congregated. They'll all go into Lucy's room, chatting, putting the world to rights.
But first, with the holidays creeping up faster than your aunt's fruitcake recipe, I've got something way better to share with you. And the discount for Black Friday on this is off the chart, so you're going to want to hear it. If you want to look sharp for all those festive gatherings and maybe finally win that Best Groomed at Family Dinner Award, check out the latest masterpiece from Manscaped, the Chairman Pro Electric Foil Shaver. Trust me, it's like Rudolph for your face, guiding you to a smooth, irritation-free shave. So let's dive into the goods. The Chairman Pro is armed with not one, but two interchangeable skin-safe blades heads. Think of them as your grooming superheroes. The skin-safe 4-blade foil for when you want that baby bottom smooth, and the skin-safe stubble trimmer for when you want to keep some stubble but clean it up a bit. Both keep you looking sharp while minimizing razor burn and irritation, because nobody wants to show up to the holiday party looking like they lost a fight with a Christmas tree, right? But wait, there's more. The Chairman Pro has Flex Adjust technology, which is basically like the holiday miracle of shaving. It's like Santa's elves made it just for you. The blades and pivoting head adjust to every curve of your face and is gentle on the neck area as if they had the gift of foresight. So go ahead, kiss that awkward jawline patch goodbye. No more pretending it doesn't exist while you hope nobody notices under the mistletoe. And if you want even more precision, on the right side of the bracket, there's a precision lock. When you lock it, the blade head sits firm so you can achieve a more precise shave. And here's something that's going to make your grooming routine even easier. The Chairman Pro is waterproof, so you can use it right in the shower. And the waterproof feature doesn't just make shaving easier, it also simplifies cleanup. Just a quick rinse under the sink and you're all set. The Chairman Pro isn't just for daily shaves either. It's powerful enough to tackle up to 5-day growth, making it perfect whether you're shaving every day or just tidying up after a few days. And with up to 75 minutes of runtime on a single charge, you'll have plenty of juice to go from Santa's beard to smooth as a snow angel. It even has a travel lock to make sure it doesn't accidentally turn on in your bag, and an LED spotlight to help you see every detail, ensuring nothing gets missed. Get the Chairman Pro today and experience a shave that is as smooth as you deserve. It has everything you need to keep your face looking and feeling its best, all in one box. You can head on over to www.manscaped.com and join the over 11 million men worldwide who trust Manscaped by using the code Outspoken for free shipping. And this week only, a bigger discount, 25% off to mark Black Friday. That's www.manscaped.com, and make sure you use the coupon code Outspoken at checkout. But now, back to the show.
After Lucy had been arrested, and they asked about, they just said it, obviously they wanted to know if I was racist. And I'm like, and Lucy, and I said, look, all I can say is that Lucy, she is obviously a childminder. She has kids from all over the world. I said Lithuania, Romania, Bangladesh, Somalia, and all over the world. And so she looks after these children and loves them like they're their own. But then obviously people change it. Some of the reports were like, Lucy cannot be racist because she looks after Bangladeshi kids, those sort of things. But I'm like, I didn't say that.
No, but at the end of the day, though, you know your wife, okay? And I believe you are entitled to say that she is a good person who isn't racist, if that is your belief, without your democratically held council seat being challenged.
Yeah, of course. Obviously, I'll defend Lucy, and I have to, because when Lucy was going to trial, I had to do some character witnesses, and I thought, who are the best people to be Lucy's character witness? And I thought, well, I went to the people who are going to be more exposed to racism. I mean, yeah, I'm at work, they call me names and whatever, like you, whatever. But I don't take it personal. I don't see them as racist. So I got the emails from people who know about racism, because racism I don't. So I sent them to people from the Nigerian communities, from the Bangladeshi communities, Romanian, Latvian. They came back 100% supporting Lucy, supporting her, saying that basically what a load of old rubbish. So they know about racism better than me, and I'll support them. So I couldn't support someone else telling me she is when I've got people who know her and know about racism better than any of us. So I will always support those
Indeed.
parents.
And she's your wife, and she's the mother of your baby, and you stood by her, and I certainly have a huge amount of respect for that, and I believe most of the Outspoken family do. And in fact, I want to bring in a member of the Outspoken family now, Father Calvin Robinson, who has been listening to Raymond Connolly intensely. Father Calvin, what's your view on what Raymond has told us today?
It seems like a stitch up. It seems like they clearly wanted to set an example from the beginning, and actually they're not evidence informed. They're twisting every little fact they can do to make it fit the picture, to make it fit the narrative that they've already come up with. It's very, very sad, because our justice system is supposed to protect all of us, right? And it's supposed to be there for all of us, no matter our station in life, no matter our politics, no matter our faith. And in fact, it seems that it's, at the moment at least, there's a two-tiered system that is set out to protect a certain demographic and paint everyone else as the bad guys. There's only so long that can go ahead before it falls apart. It doesn't work. It's not realistic. It's not true. And so this whole situation is horrible. None of it should have happened.
Raymond, are you in touch at all? Because Calvin's completely right. None of this should have happened. And there are actually a lot of political prisoners now who the elite class in this country are ignoring, but Elon Musk isn't ignoring them. I'm not ignoring them. Calvin's not ignoring them. Social media isn't ignoring them. Have you been in touch, Raymond, with any other families of people who are going through something similar?
No, I'll be honest, I've just started looking at it now, really. Obviously, I know about these people. but obviously I'll be honest, because of my position, I've tried to stay below the radar and not get involved. But obviously, since although my appeal was supposed to be strictly private and confidential, my complaint against me, obviously, it was obviously leaked to the press from, I guess, a member of that department, because they knew too much specific details, and obviously now it's all just blown up.
Yeah, so there is clearly a campaign against you, although the Conservative Party, I believe, have been supportive.
Yeah, they've been great. I've had the Conservative have, even the opposition party members as well, Lib Dem, Independents, and even the Labour, some of the Labour group, they've been supportive of me in this situation. So,
Calvin,
yeah.
Father Calvin, that makes me happy, because look, we're often quite critical of certain aspects of the Conservative Party, but we also know what it's like to be thrown under the bus when things get a little bit hot. And I actually think it's admirable of the Conservative Party to say, no, we support you. You're a very popular, successful councillor. You're in one of our safest seats, and you can run next year.
Absolutely, this is spot on what they should be doing. I'm hoping this is a sign of change, because I was kicked out of the Conservative Party.
Yes.
Connor Tomlinson was kicked out. Cole Benjamin was kicked out, and even people without big profiles I know that have been kicked out for saying things that are conservative and or Christian. And so maybe this means the tide is turning, or maybe it's just the local level party is much better than the national party.
Raymond, what is the plan for Christmas? Because I believe Lucy was left pretty heartbroken at some news regarding that.
Yeah, she when she got sentenced, she was entitled to have, like, you can have like a day off, like a family visit, and you'd be picked up at 8 o'clock in the morning, and you'd be returned at 5 o'clock. So she spoke to the internal probation officer about it, and he said, I don't think I can get you Christmas Day, Lucy, but I think we can do Christmas Eve. And she goes, okay. Well, she filled all the forms in and whatever to do that, and the process of how to get into that. And then she followed it up about a week and a half later and said, what's going on? And it was kind of like not getting involved. They were very quiet and cagey about it. And then she realised that something was wrong, and she was in the cell in her room crying, and she cried all day. But obviously this caused an alarm for the other people on the wing, because they said that this isn't like Lucy, this is a nightmare. And they all well, they weren't happy, the rest of the wing weren't. And eventually the prison officer said they will get the probation officer to speak to Lucy, and he did speak to her, and he said that it's not going to happen, because they think that the press will be notified, and they will want to speak to her, and if she didn't notify them, a neighbour would. But so obviously that's not going to happen.
So I mean, Calvin, it's two-tier justice, isn't it? It's two-tier justice. She's the wife of a Conservative Party politician. She's the face of Starmer's campaign to lock up the white working classes. We can't let her out. But don't worry when it comes to a paedophile or a woman beater. I mean, it's just extraordinary, isn't it, Calvin?
It's insane, the twists and turns in this story. It seems like Lucy's being punished because of who Raymond is, but Raymond's also being punished because of who Lucy is. You can't win in this situation, unfortunately. I'm laughing because it's so absurd, not because it's funny. And we need to put the pressure on the justice system and on the mainstream media to report this story fairly, so that both Lucy and Raymond get justice that they are owed. All of us should... all throughout points of our lives be under the assurance that if something goes wrong, we can trust the police, we can trust the judicial system, and that we have a fair and balanced society where everyone has equality under the law. If we think that because of our faith, our politics, or our outlook on life, we're going to get treated differently, or because of who we're married to, we're going to get treated differently, then people will act in a very different way, and that would break down the entire system that we have going here of law, fairness, and equality.
Totally. And Raymond, I'm so glad that you have spoken today. I know you've gone through such a tough time, but it is important that we have these conversations. And as Calvin says, start to change some of the rhetoric, because also it's very important, isn't it, Raymond, that once Lucy is released, she knows that she has a life to return to.
As I said, of course, I mean, my job is to make sure, as a husband, to make sure she's okay and she gets home here safe and in good order, and everything is salvageable around the house and with jobs wise and whatever.
Totally. Well, look, Raymond Connolly, stay in touch, pass on our love to Lucy, and hopefully there's a bit of a Christmas miracle and she'll get home. Thank you so much for watching Dan Wootton Outspoken. Please click on my face just to the bottom left to subscribe to this brand new independent news source and turn on the notification bell so you'll be alerted to our brand new live shows, uncancelled interviews, and special royal episodes. Outspoken is also now available as a podcast.